Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Vietnam earlier today for a two-day state visit. He was welcomed by the Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister at the airport in Hanoi. Putin is set to hold talks with the country's communist leaders and deepen ties. Vietnam is the last leg of his two-nation Asia tour. North Korea and Russia have pledged to assist each other in the event of a war. This is according to a new landmark defense pact signed by Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The two countries promise to provide each other with immediate military assistance if the other is invaded. Israel says it is prepared for a full-scale war in Lebanon targeting the Hezbollah group. The statement followed the release of threatening drone footage by Hezbollah. The footage showed civilian and military areas in the Israeli port city of Haifa, including malls and residential areas. Israel's foreign minister strongly condemned the footage of Haifa's ports, which are operated by companies from India and China. In yet another confrontation in the South China Sea, Chinese Coast Guard motorboats repeatedly rammed and damaged Philippine vessels. The Chinese boarded two Philippine vessels and interrupted their mission. Philippine officials say the Chinese Coast Guard seized their boats, rifles, and other equipment. Authorities in Myanmar have arrested 22 people who celebrated Aung San Suu Kyi's birthday. They had posted pictures of themselves wearing flowers on social media. Suu Kyi, who turned 79 yesterday, has been detained by the military since it toppled her government and seized power in 2021. The arrests were made in Mandalay, which is Myanmar's second largest city. Houthi rebels released a video of a strike which sank a Greek-owned ship in the Red Sea. The video shows two explosions on the bulk carrier at sea. The tutor vessel, which is flagged under Liberia, sank after the strike. It was targeted by a bomb-carrying Houthi drone on the 12th of June. Demonstrators gathered at Brazil's National Congress to protest a bill tightening abortion laws. Protesters held signs and chanted slogans opposing the bill. The bill would classify abortions after 22 weeks as homicide if passed. Brazil only permits abortion in cases of rape when a mother's life is at risk or if the fetus has no functioning brain. A major power outage struck Ecuador, leaving at least 18 million people in the dark. The blackout hit the country's metro and road services. 3 hours later, services were largely back. Ecuador's energy minister announced that 95% of the power had been restored. New Zealand's economy has exited recession with a 0.2% GDP growth. This follows 2 consecutive quarters of economic decline. The growth was driven mainly by population increase from higher immigration. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will begin his 2-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir today. He is set to inaugurate at least 84 development projects worth 1,500 crore Indian rupees. The Prime Minister will also be handing over 2,000 appointment letters to government personnel. On the 21st of June, he will participate in the International Yoga Day celebrations in Srinagar. The Prime Minister had other engagements too. He met with a group of United States congressional members in New Delhi. The 6-member team was led by Congressman Michael McCaul. Former US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is also part of the delegation. The US officials met Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama. Over 30 people died in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu after drinking illicit alcohol, and around 100 are undergoing treatment across several hospitals. The incident occurred on June 18th. The affected individuals reportedly experienced diarrhea, vomiting and stomachache shortly after consuming the alcohol. In the United Kingdom, 2 protesters from the Just Stop Oil group targeted the Stonehenge. They defaced the iconic structure with orange-colored spray paint. The 2 protesters were later arrested by the police. Tropical storm Alberto hit the U.S. state of Texas. The storm brought strong winds, heavy rainfall and flooding along the coastline. Officials say there is a high probability of a flash flood in southern coastal Texas. The storm is expected to make landfall in northern Mexico today. In the Indian state of Assam, heavy rain triggered floods and landslides in the Karimganj region. At least 5 people died after a house collapsed. According to authorities, over 160,000 people have been affected. Meanwhile, heavy rains triggered landslides in Sikkim. Dozens of stranded tourists were rescued by officials. Landslides washed away a number of houses in the northern part of the state. The government shut down all the schools, keeping in mind the safety of students. According to Indian authorities, over 40,000 suspected heat stroke cases have been reported this summer. The prolonged heat wave killed over 100 people across the country. In some parts of India, temperatures soared to almost 50 degrees Celsius. Experts say the extreme heat this summer has been actually worsened by climate change. Temperatures in Bosnia touched close to 40 degrees Celsius yesterday. A heat wave is expected to persist in the region for the next 3 days. There has been a surge in patients being admitted to the hospital with symptoms related to the heat. Doctors have advised people to stay indoors during peak hours. Meanwhile, in the Romanian capital of Bucharest, people are bracing for another heat wave. Meteorologists have forecast that temperatures could reach up to 40 degrees Celsius. This week, residents were seen flocking to parks and water bodies to cool themselves. 6 wildfires erupted across Greece on Wednesday. At least 55 fighters, along with aircraft, were deployed to contain the fires in Koropi, the city south of the capital Athens. Looking at the severity of the condition, the authorities evacuated 2 villages. There were no reports of deaths or injuries. India has approved the development of a new deep water port. It will be located in Hanoi, which is around 150 kilometers north of Mumbai. The new port will be a crucial part of the plan to connect India with Europe with sea and rail links. The ports will have terminals to accommodate so-called mega vessels, also special terminals for petroleum, automobiles and other imports. The Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC, is nearing $1 trillion in market valuation. TSMC is getting a big push due to a surge in demand for AI-related products and also because of the anticipated hike in chip prices in 2025. Recently, TSMC overtook Berkshire Hathaway to become the 8th largest company globally. Britain's central bank is expected to hold interest rates at a 16-year high of 5.25%. The reason appears to be sticky inflation. Services prices have fallen less than the central bank expected. The expectation was 5.7%, but the actual fall was 5.3%. But UK's inflation did fall to the Bank of England's target for the first time in nearly 3 years. The Consumer Prices Index rose 2% from a year ago in the month of May. It was also down 2.3% from the month before. The latest figures could give some respite from the cost of living crisis. Saudi Arabia has dethroned China, becoming the biggest issuer of international debt. The country has broken Beijing's 12-year record of being at the top spot. Data for the bond sales by both governments revealed that Saudi Arabia is borrowing at a record pace. The co-founder of OpenAI, Ilya Sutskever, has announced his new AI company, which he calls Safe Superintelligence, or SSI. Sutskever worked as OpenAI's chief scientist and co-led the company's super alignment team. He's starting the company with Daniel Gross, who oversaw Apple's AI and search efforts, and Daniel Levy, who's also from OpenAI. Amazon will invest almost $11 billion in its German business. A huge chunk of this money will be spent by 2026 to expand its computing unit, which is called Amazon Web Services. Amazon sees rising potential in artificial intelligence-driven technologies in Europe. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz also praised the investment that would create more than 4,000 jobs this year. But there's trouble for Amazon in India. India's Human Rights Commission has asked the government to look into allegations of labor law violations at their warehouse in New Delhi. The commission has alleged harsh working conditions during a severe heat wave. It has also stated that the finding raised a serious issue of human rights of the workers. An activist shareholder group has said that Nippon Steel's proposed acquisition of US Steel could raise decarbonization cost. The group has urged Japan's top steelmaker to address the takeover's impact on climate goals. Nippon Steel had announced a $15 billion takeover offer for US Steel, but the deal has faced resistance from labor unions and the White House as well. India's Vedanta will raise nearly $120 million by issuing non-convertible debentures. In the past 2 months, Vedanta's board has already approved raising up to $300 million, which could extend up to $1 billion later on. Vedanta is in the middle of splitting into 6 different units in order to improve the company's financial performance. Moving to sports now, and we start with cricket. England defeated West Indies by 8 wickets in the Super 8s of the T20 World Cup. Joss Buttler's England won the toss and opted to bowl first. West Indies finished 180 for 4 in 20 overs. Phil Salt thrashed a brilliant 87 not out of just 47 balls to help England chase their target in 17.3 overs. Meanwhile, South Africa beat the USA by 18 runs in the first game of the Super 8s at the same tournament. USA won the toss and put South Africa into bat first. South African opener Quinton de Kock shared a 110-run partnership with skipper Aiden Markram. The Proteas eventually ended at a solid 194 for 4. The USA batters were bundled out for 176 in 20 overs. Zimbabwe's cricket board has appointed Justin Salmons as its new men's head coach. Salmons was a former batting coach for the South African national team. He will coach Zimbabwe for the first time in a 5-match T20 series against India, which starts on the 6th of July. In football, Germany has made it through to the round of 16 at the European Championship or the Euros. This comes after their 2-0 victory in Group A against Hungary. Yesterday, Jamal Musiala gave the Germans a lead in the 22nd minute. Ilkay Gundogan scored a second goal in the 67th minute to wrap up the game. The European Football Governing Body, or the UEFA, has fined Albanian and Serbian football federations over $10,000 each. It was due to fans displaying nationalist maps at European Championship games. Albania's banner showed a map extending their country's borders into neighboring countries. Meanwhile, Serbia's banner included Kosovo with the slogan "No Surrender" during their match against England. Argentina is gearing up for their Copa America opener. They play their first game against Canada. Argentina, led by Lionel Messi, will begin their title defense in Group A today in Atlanta. Argentina's other matches include Peru and Chile, also in Group A. On to tennis now. Men's world number 5, Daniil Medvedev of Russia, has crashed out of the Hala Open. The Russian was against Zhizhen Zhang in the second round. Medvedev got off to a shaky start but fought back in the second set. He eventually went down 3-6, 6-2, 6-7 to his Chinese opponent. Men's world number 4, Alexander Zverev of Germany, has advanced to the quarterfinals of the Hala Open. He overcame Italy's Lorenzo Sonego 6-4, 7-6 to reach the last 8. Zverev next placed Frenchman Arthur Fields for a spot in the semis. 4 Grand Slam champions have been given wildcard entry into the Wimbledon. These are the players. 2021 US Open winner Emma Raducanu is the first on the list. Along with Raducanu is 4-time Grand Slam winner Naomi Osaka of Japan. The other 2 wildcard entrants are 2018 Australian Open winner Caroline Wozniacki and 3-time Grand Slam champion Angelique Kerber. Indian javelin throw ace Neeraj Chopra plans to address his recurring adductor muscle issue after the Paris Olympics. The adductor muscles are located on the inner thigh and are crucial for hip and leg movement. During an interview, Chopra said he experiences yearly issues with this adductor. His most recent injury was in the month of May, which forced him to drop out of the Ostrava meet. Now to entertainment news. Reports say Barbie actor Ryan Gosling will play the role of Ghost Rider. The role is of a motorcycle-riding, flame-wielding anti-hero. The title of the film is Ghost Ride: The Midnight Suns. The character was previously portrayed by Nicolas Cage. Actors Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are all set to star in an upcoming crime thriller. The movie is titled R.I.P. and will be directed by Joe Carnahan. The shooting schedule will begin this year. The plot details have been kept under wraps. Priyanka Chopra sustained injuries while filming the movie Bluff. She took to Instagram to share what happened. Chopra bruised her throat and called it the professional hazards of her job. She plays the role of a former female pirate in the film. South Korean actor Song Kang-ho has starred in multiple contemporary history-themed films, but he does not choose these roles because he likes history. He revealed in an interview that it just happens to be related to history. The reboot of The Exorcist will release in 2026. According to reports, it will hit theatres on the 13th of March. Filmmaker Mike Flanagan says Exorcist is the reason why he became a filmmaker. Justin Timberlake's lawyer has spoken out after the singer was arrested in New York. He said he will vigorously defend his client against the allegations. The team is waiting to see the full discovery from the police. Timberlake was arrested on the 18th of June after suspicion of driving under the influence of alcohol. The concert delay lawsuit against Madonna has been dismissed by plaintiffs. They didn't make settlement to dismiss the case. The lawsuit alleged that the artist started her December 2023 concert a bit late. Ariana Grande says she intentionally changed her voice in a podcast that featured her. She said that she has been talking like this for 2 years for the sake of her vocal health. This comes after she received flack for her voice in a recent podcast. Clips from that interaction had gone viral. A one-of-its-kind exhibition in London this week will feature the stylish looks of supermodel Naomi Campbell. The exhibition has been titled Naomi in Fashion. It will feature her glamorous looks, her towering heels and magazine covers. The exhibition opens for public on Sunday. And streaming platform Netflix plans to open entertainment venues for its American fans. Visitors will get a chance to immerse themselves in their favorite show. There will be restaurants and gift shops based on their hit shows. The first 2 Netflix houses will open in Philadelphia and Dallas.
Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual on Firstpost, where we get you the top 50 stories of the day. I'm